We'd like to call the meeting to order and like to welcome everyone here, as well as many of our visitors who are here with us today. Before we get started, I'd like to go over our board norms and protocols. As a school board, we agree to respect the differences of opinions in making decisions for the district. We agree to follow best practices in managing the superintendent and the management of the board itself, to stay on task when conducting business for the district, including while at board meetings, to never surprise the superintendent or each other when conducting the official business of the district, to read these norms at the beginning of each board meeting and at board workshops as a reminder as to how we are to conduct our meetings, and to continually to do a self-check to determine if we are following our norms when conducting district business. And with that being said, we're going to ask everyone, would you please stand as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, we will have the roll call.
Harold Brown.
Present.
Maxine Drew.
Present.
Janie Humphreys.
Present.
Wanda Brownlee Page.
Present.
Valdenia Nguyen. Nancy Yeager.
Present.
Thank you. I'd like to have a approval for our regular agenda.
Okay, Madam President, I'd like to add something to the agenda. When we met on September the 10th, we had asked that Mr. Goheen there was some concern about the Good News Club, and I would like for that to be on the agenda because we were supposed to come back with something on that, and I don't want it forgotten. People are very concerned, they're calling and inquiring, and I would like to add the Good News Club on the agenda, please.
Okay. Thank you. The motion has been.
Yeah. I move that we add the Good News Club on the agenda for tonight, please.
Okay. The motion has been made and seconded. Are there any questions? All those in favor, would you say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and we will add that to our agenda. Thank you. Dr. Nguyen.
Madam President, I have a motion to amend the agenda, please. And amending number 9, deleting items A, B, C, and D.
Okay. Motion has been made. Has it been seconded?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to amend the regular agenda by removing number 9, letters A, B, C, and D. Are there, all those in favor, say aye.
Question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any questions?
Can you clarify why we're removing them?
I'd be happy to. And this is not a surprise. I just notified both Ms. Drew and Dr. Faust that at the last meeting before last, you made the motion to table these specific ones. I seconded so that the board would schedule a time to meet to discuss this, and that hasn't happened. So the board has not had a discussion on when we would schedule to discuss these items,
And
according to that motion that passed.
I think that in looking at, because I've already reviewed them, and hopefully others have, I'm not sure, but I think we should keep them on the agenda because we really want to respect our time. And I think that if we go ahead and put them on the agenda rather than dedicate to one specific day, it would be more cost effective and as well as time effective if we go ahead and leave them on the agenda and add them to every meeting.
Madam President, I think we need more time because we seem to always be doing things in a rush, and we're not really doing an adequate job with that. And we definitely need more time to discuss this. That's what we voted on, and now we're doing something different, and that's not fair to us. We've looked at it, but I'd like more time, and I'd like to discuss it with others to make sure we're doing the right thing. Because we come here, 5 to 8 is not enough time to really do the business we need to do. It's just my opinion.
So are you suggesting that we take some time, that we come together as a board and look at it in its
Yes.
entirety?
Remove what she just said.
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I think we need more time because that was the impression I got when we left, that we were going to do that. And now it's something different. And I think we need more time to discuss it and to really make sure that we understand what we're doing and what we're talking about and to discuss it and debate it.
Okay. Any other comments?
Is there any reason we can't do the discussion on these tonight? And then if we decide not to approve them, that's fine. Because this isn't the whole board policies.
I realize, I respect
Okay,
what
wait a
you're
minute.
saying.
Just let her get time to finish.
Okay.
And they seem very short ones. They're not real detailed ones. Is there a reason we can't discuss them tonight in the work session?
Yeah, because we said, we seem to keep flip-flopping, that we would pick a date, not on a normal board meeting day, and discuss it and give ourselves some time. Even though it may be simple to you, it may be a little bit more in-depth to others. So we need some time, and a Saturday would not hurt us. I don't think so. But I respect everyone else's opinion. I just don't think we need to do this tonight.
And I will add, this is the third reading, meaning that we had a first reading, it was approved. The second reading, it was approved, and this is the final reading. So therefore, that meant it came before us one time, it came before us 2 times, and now it's here for us the third time. So just to clarify, for those who may be wondering what the conversation is relating to, we go through 3 readings before a policy is approved. The first time, we can read through it, make adjustments, comments. Second time, we can read through it, make adjustments, comments. Third time is generally a time where those comments have been made, added, corrected, talked about, and we can still discuss it on the third reading. But I think the importance is to know that being the third reading, we have seen it multiple times before just this first time.
And Madam President, as we're addressing the audience, the second read, there was the discussion and we tabled it. So now, what is the value of a vote if it's not going to be respected? The vote was to table, the body was to determine, the body, not whoever set the agenda. And so that's one issue. The second issue is that A, B, C, and D, talking about equal opportunity and non-discrimination, complaints of discrimination, recruitment and hiring, and nepotism. Some of those issues were highlighted in the audit as being a challenge, and so that was my reason to express discontent, and that I think the key issue is that we took a vote. We took a vote. We voted to table. We voted that the body as a whole would determine a date, and that's what I'm saying. That's the reason for the motion to remove those, because we took a vote legitimately, legally, and now it's not being adhered to.
So are you suggesting as well that we take a day, like a Saturday, and come together as a board to sit down and go through everything, and then finalize everything at that particular meeting?
No,
that's what I'm asking. Is that what you're saying?
And my response was that not the vote?
That's what the information was.
So that's what I'm saying.
Therefore, you're suggesting that, okay.
Let's live by the vote.
Have a work meeting? Okay. Okay. All right, so the motion has been made for us to be able to amend the regular agenda by removing number 9, letters.
No, only items A through D. There remains an E.
I'm getting ready to specify that on the work sessions policies that we, of number 9, that we remove A, B, C, and D from the agenda, and then we will make a decision as to when we will be meeting to be able to discuss these 4 items. And we've had comments coming from 2 of the other board members suggesting we move through. So the motion has been made, it has been seconded. Are there any questions?
I call for a roll call.
Okay, roll call, please, Susan.
Carol Brown,
Yes.
Maxine Drew,
Yes.
Janie Humphries,
Yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page,
This is to remove it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Valdine Nguyen,
Yes?
Stacy Jaeger.
Yes.
Okay. The motion has passed, and we are going to remove on number 9, A, B, C, and D.
I would like to make a motion
Okay,
relating to these items.
okay,
We have a work session starting, scheduled for next board meeting. Don't we have a work session scheduled for next board meeting? I would like to make a motion that we add A, B, C, and D, those topics, to the next board meeting that we have.
to discuss
And-
the policies.
Right, and to discuss those policies, as well as utilize our board meeting work sessions during a regular board meeting to address these policy issues.
Okay, so the motion has been made that we add policies A, B, C, and D to discuss our policies and utilize board meeting work session at the next one that we're going to have here.
Just not all of the policies.
No, just those, A,
Right.
B, C, and D.
And continue to spread them out over our board meetings, since Greg mentioned that we don't have a certain time to approve the policies.
Okay.
To chunk them out at each board meeting, to do a small bit of them at a time.
Okay, so make your motion again, please.
Okay,
Because I was writing what you were
Sorry.
saying, and that's what I was
I make
reading.
a motion to add A, B, C, and D to our next board work sessions, and have Susan to continue to put 3 to 4 policies for our approval on the upcoming board meeting in the work section, in the board work sessions policies.
Okay. So the motion has been made that we will add A, B, C, and D at our next work session, and to continue with at least 3 to 4 policies on our board work sessions when we do meet. Am I correct in what you
Yes.
said? Okay, the motion has been made. Is it seconded?
Second.
It has been moved, I'm sorry, it has been seconded. Are there any questions?
Yes, for clarity.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that we were having a work session at the meeting on October the 8th. Well, I know we had a regular board meeting, but I didn't know there was an added time. So,
The work sessions are included in our, the board work session policies can be included right in our board.
okay, but all I was saying, I didn't know it was going to be
Oh.
included, and it's like you just came up with this. So I'm just saying for clarity, I didn't know. Is this something that's going to happen from here on out?
That's what I'm asking, is that that we just be added to our board meetings, so that we can chunk them out a little at a time.
Okay, but
'Cause there are a lot to go
could you let us know? Because I didn't know we
Okay.
were adding this time.
No, what she is
No, I
saying.
understood what she said.
What you want is for it to do it on Saturday, that we
No,
take a separate
no,
day?
I'm not even-
Yeah.
Okay,
No, I'm just saying, I didn't know we were adding this
A board
other time.
session.
I heard you just say it a few minutes ago.
Right.
And I'm just saying, it would be nice if we knew. Now, I know if others, please speak up. I didn't. So just want to know, is this something we're going to be doing
that's
after
the
this?
motion that has been put
Okay.
forth. Now, do you have any questions about that? Would you prefer that we not do that?
I would, listen, I'll speak. I would prefer that we not do that,
Okay,
for this reason. The reason we're taking it off the agenda today is so we can allocate time to discuss and review these policies, and be real specific about addressing, our concerns. And if we add it to the workshop, then we're still running into that same problem that we're experiencing, that the reason we're taking it off today, we're running into the same problem, and that we won't have enough time. We're doing too much. I'd like to be able to look at and have that specifically, a whole session dedicated to that specific issue.
A board meeting or
Yes.
just a workshop?
A workshop.
Okay. Now, my question is, when would you like to
I'm open.
set that up?
Probably,
Beginning in the month of October?
Yeah, October would be good.
Okay. Do we have any comments?
As we finish Dr. Yeager's motion,
Okay.
I would just add that the next board meeting is at Sumner at 8:30 in the morning. So I'm not sure if that is suitable. So I would oppose your motion for that reason.
Okay.
But we need to finish that motion.
Okay. All right, so the motion was made that we add A, B, C, and D at the next work session to continue, and then add 3 to 4 policies on the board work session. That's the motion. It has been seconded. We did have questions and comment. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
No. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes,
Okay.
Harold Brown,
No.
Maxine Drew,
yes.
Janie Humphries,
Yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page,
No.
Valdine Nguyen,
No.
Stacy Jaeger.
Yes.
Okay, so it is tied, and we do not have, we can't move forward with it, with that particular motion. So what we can do is to table it and then come up with a date in which we can sit down and discuss it, and then meet as to how we're going to follow the policy, the work session. Yes, ma'am.
We only have one board meeting in November, I believe, which would leave us with November the 19th, a Tuesday, if we wanted to have a work session that evening.
Is that,
That way, people who work and stuff don't have
won't
to.
work for you?
I'll have to check. There was a reason why we did the one.
Okay.
We need to go back in.
Because of the schools being closed that week.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're closed the next week. But, because our meeting's the 12th.
So can we just, right now, just table it, and then at our next meeting, we will come up with a date in which we can plan, so we can sit down and discuss our board work sessions? Is that acceptable to everyone?
Is it possible that you could send out some dates and we can yay, nay it, so that way we already have it done?
We can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Instead of waiting until we have the next one, that we go ahead and have some dates in mind, throw it out, and then see what people are available to do.
Okay. Is that acceptable, Dr. Nguyen? To you, is it, Ms. Humphries?
Yeah.
Dr. Yeager? Mr. Brown?
Yes, that's fine.
Ms. Page, thank you.
Call the question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but then,
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Thank you.
Second.
The motion has been made that we approve the agenda as it has been amended, and it has been seconded. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you, the ayes have it. Thank you all for this. Sometimes it's always best if we just talk things out and try to figure out to the best of our ability. And again, I'm a work in progress. So I appreciate the support that I'm getting from not only the board members, but also from my audience. Thank you so much. With that being said, we will now go ahead with what's on our agenda to go toward recognition and awards.
This evening, we have recognition for Employee of the Month, and I'm going to have Taylor Penrod is here to recognize. Yes, come on up. And our employee is Talia Baker. Okay, thank you.
What's her name?
Talia.
No. This is not, that's not Karen, is it?
The USD 500 Employee of the Month, Talia Baker, of J.C. Harmon High School, was named a James Madison Fellow for Kansas in 2019. The James Madison Fellowship Foundation names only 53 fellows in 2019 who will receive up to $24,000 to fund a master's degree focused on the Constitution. Mrs. Baker has a master's degree in education, curriculum, and instruction from the University of Kansas and plans to get her second master's in American history and government from Ashland University in 2020. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly wrote a congratulatory letter to Baker that says, "On behalf of the state of Kansas, I want to thank you for your important work as a teacher and congratulate you on your fellowship award. I am grateful for you for not only pursuing this passion, but also working to inspire the next generation of Kansans." Baker teaches both English language learners and native-speaking English students history and government. The ELL students are from a variety of nations, including Vietnam, Iraq, the Congo, and a number of Central American countries. Mrs. Baker was an ELL student herself and has overcome challenges to be a successful and wonderful teacher. In addition to teaching ELL students, Baker is the girls' head track coach and helped to reintroduce Link Crew Leadership Program to J.C. Harmon. Link Crew is a mentoring program where junior and senior students mentor freshmen throughout their first year. Over 1,600 students have been mentored in the program since Baker started it. On a personal note, Talia Baker loves students as if they were her own. She invests countless hours in making sure they feel loved, acknowledged, seen, and heard. She's helped to make the atmosphere of J.C. Harmon one of love and acceptance. Her students always know she is their biggest fan, and that impact will last a lifetime. Talia is Employee of the Month, but she is not just that. Talia Baker is a world changer.
Thank you. Before you take your seat, we would like to have you come up, and board members, you come forward so we can congratulate her.
I want to get a picture too.
Thank you. Congratulations. At this time, we will have recognition for Student of the Month.
Do I need to address the board or in a certain way? Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Mrs. Corville. I teach 5th grade at New Stanley Elementary. I am the lucky teacher to have Darion Greer. This year in my classroom. He is new to New Stanley this year. He is a very bright student who interacts well with his peers, showing respect, and he actively engages with them when we turn and talk to discuss our read-alouds and share our thoughts with one another. Darion shows leadership skills by raising his hand, sharing his thoughts, and answering questions. He enjoys learning, and it shows with his positive attitude and beautiful smile. When he is given an assignment, whether it's math, science, social studies, reading, or writing, he puts forth his very best effort. He shows responsibility by getting forms, homework, reading logs, and other required materials in his backpack each day. Darion has volunteered on many occasions to help a classmate, especially one that has a broken ankle, holds the doors open for others, and truly just overall volunteers to help when he sees needed. Darion shows empathy and carries his friends' materials. He makes sure, so this particular friend with a broken ankle, that they get there, like we're on the 3rd floor, that they get to places safely and on time, which I appreciate. Darion, I am so very proud of you, and I'm very happy that you are part of our New Stanley community. Congratulations.
And on behalf of the Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools, I would like to give Darion this medal, and then he will come up to see the board and our superintendent. Come on up. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you to his parents and family, too, who came out. Thank you for everything you're doing and supporting him. So thank you.
And we encourage him to continue to do well in the school year. Also, we like to say that we are really looking forward this year to seeing not only one student of the month, but other students of the month as we move throughout this entire school year. And we thank the teachers, the parents, and everyone who support this endeavor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
There are also other employees of the month in here. I'm not sure why they didn't make it to the list.
All right.
We needed to acknowledge. So we have in the back, if you'll all stand, those are our lead custodians.
Stand up, please.
What I wanted to first acknowledge so there's a reason why the employees are standing for them. There was one of our schools that needed a lot of attention that did not get the attention, so Northwest. What we found out is that the stairwell is not black, it's actually green. And these gentlemen and female, they found out that it was that for us. They scrubbed, they gave their time on a Saturday and a Sunday and put in the work that was required to clean that building. This summer, as you know, we were working 4x10s and they were assigned their buildings and they got their things done. And for some reason, that building didn't get the attention that was needed. And so I want to personally thank each and every one of you for the time that you did to go over and show your leadership and giving that school the opportunity that it needed, because every child should come into a clean building every single day.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Just like I said, we do appreciate everything that you do. A lot of the things that go on within the school cannot happen if you don't do your job. And we thank you for what you have done, and we encourage you to continue doing the best that you can. Thank you. So with that being said, we will now have a community comment. We're having Ms. Manick, who is going to come forward. If she's here.
I don't see her.
Okay, well then she's not. With that, we are now ready for our board updates by Mr. Dennis Covington.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and board members and superintendent.
Good evening.
I have Mr. Lee Moore here with Jay Dunn to give you our latest bond update.
All right.
I think it is. Madam President, Board, Dr. Faust, thank you.
Hello.
So our first project, we just got a few to report on tonight. Last month, we wrapped up all the stuff we finished from the summer, so we've got just a few underway right now. The first one we're working on is J.C. Harmon renovations. As you can see in the pictures, the skin is starting to come together. You're starting to see some glass, some storefront framing. So we will continue that in the month of October. And again, that's a December turnover with some additional administration space for the January school year. Next project is West Park Elementary. This is at the West Middle School site. As you can see, we've got steel going up right now and working on rough-in. We'll start working on some deck slabs here next month. And then October 7th, you will start seeing gym precast go up. So kind of the common theme, you'll see the, similar to Carl B. Bruce, we've got the precast gym down there too. So we'll start the gym and then start working our way around the building and hopefully have that thing skinned up and have a roof on it by the end of the year. So.
Great.
Next project is Carl B. Bruce at the Northwest Middle School site. Similar, larger project, but similar that West Park, a little bit farther along in steel, as you can see. You can see some deck pour slabs that we're working on there. There's a second page of pictures. The milestone there is mid-October. We'll see precast showing up for the skin. We do have the gym precast there complete already. And once the steel is ready, we'll start skinning that building. And again, planning on having a roof on and try to get that building dried in before the end of the year. I've also got a cost tracking update, as you can see there. Minor changes this month, so I know at the last board meeting, the work package 18 that we're calling, which is the maintenance facility, was added. We have included that in this document, which is why the savings has been reduced. If you recall, last month we had about $3 million in savings there. Right now, we're just a little under 700. So the majority of the changes is funding allocated to that work package, hard cost and soft costs. So a few stats. Through the end of August, we're billed out at $119 million, so we've put $119 million worth of work in place. That's about 65% of your bond dollars from a construction standpoint. Other than that, we're still tracking along. Still sitting good on contingency, and like I said, we've got some savings there. So, any questions on the finances?
Madam President?
Mm-hmm.
And
Just a moment, Harry.
go ahead. He can go ahead.
You go ahead.
Okay. Again, thank you for this. What am I going to call this? What do you call it? Tracking report.
Bond tracking report.
Right. Now, it does not have future projects listed, right? Work packages. It doesn't have future work packages?
All the work packages that we're planning on at this point are listed on this document.
Okay. And so starting, help me understand so how many bids do we have yet to go out?
So we have 5 bid packages this fall that are going out. Work package 11A and 11B, work package 16A and 16B,
Okay.
and then work package 18 that I just mentioned.
Right.
Now, 11 and 16 are not broken up on this. Each
Okay.
project is listed individually, but we don't have the A and B designated, so it's all in one number.
But 11 is new West Park Elementary.
No, 11 is 7 elementary
10.
schools for next,
Work package 11?
yeah, work package 11 totals. So that's actually the bottom of work package 11. So if you look up, there's 7 line items, actually 8, but 1 is no longer in the package. So there's 7, Emerson, Francis Willard, J.F. Kennedy, Lindbergh, Stony Point South, New Stanley, and Noble Prentice.
Right.
That's work package 11, A and B.
Right, okay. So you just haven't broken it out?
We have not broken it out into A and B.
Got it. Okay. So, but you're saying this fall there'll be 5 bid packages going out starting when?
Actually, this week. If not this week, on Monday, it'll be out on the street. So we have a couple bidding in October, and then we'll have a couple bidding in November.
And then that'll be all
Yes.
total?
As
Every
it sits
job
right
done.
now.
Total bond spent?
The total bond will not be spent, but that's the projects that we've got left to bid.
Okay, good. And help me understand, Madam President, if you may, where are those bid packages advertised?
So we will do newspaper advertisements. We've got the website that we advertise on. We've got our inclusion events, which that is the next slide, is some events that we've had recently and some events we have planned.
What newspapers?
There's like 5 or 6. I don't have them off the top of my head, but
Do you
I can
include the
provide a
Call
list.
or Dos Mundos?
Those sound familiar?
They sound familiar, but are you
Yes,
sure?
Those are the ones. Yeah, those are 2 of them. Yes, I just don't have the list in front of
Okay.
me.
And Madam President, the reason I asked him, this week's Call had J.E. Dunn for and on behalf of Piper School District. So if possible, if a package goes out, when, you say, like within 2 weeks?
We're hoping to be out either this week or next week.
When do you put the ad in?
So we advertise usually 2 weeks, so it'll probably be in next week's paper if we're going out to bid by the end of the week.
So to solicit, not that the bid closes.
Right, to solicit that the
Okay.
documents are available, the project is out on the street, you can go
Okay,
visit the.
good. So we need to look for that, because if J.E. Dunn is advertising for Piper School District to do a 5 elementary school project, one would think USD 500 would be also in the Call. Okay,
Yes.
so we'll look for it.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I just got a quick question. Could you explain to me the contracted costs?
Which document are you looking at?
I'm looking at the summary, the budget executive summary.
The first page of the document?
Yeah,
So what was your?
yeah, the contracted costs,
Okay.
column C. Can you just?
Contracted costs, those are the actual costs that have been contracted under like a GMP, so our guaranteed maximum price. So all the projects that are either completed or are in progress, not the ones that we have to bid out, but the ones that are complete, those are lumped into that value. And so the total GMP for construction is just a little over $179 million.
Okay, and so that's 94% of the current anticipated cost, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Madam President, could you give those, when you find your list of newspapers, send it to Susan, please?
Okay.
And then she could send it to.
Just post it.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
And the dates that those bids will be
Okay.
open or closed.
Will do. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President, before you move off, could I ask Mr. Covington a question?
Sure.
Or Dr. Faust, in your weekly report, you wrote that Moody's Rating Service had another press release to, I guess in reference of the issuance of new bonds, and then Piper Jaffray decided not to, I'll say just take action. Could you update us on that?
Remember at the last board meeting, the representative from Piper Jaffray said that we will watch the market to see when we're going to release that $8 million and refinance the bonds. And so in anticipation of that, Moody's, under their rules, they have to issue their rating, even though they had issued it a couple of months before.
Right.
But before they go on the street, they have to reissue their rating so the investors would know what the ratings were. But at that time, the interest rate jumped up again. So we decided not to refinance our bonds because our savings, as you remember, was at $27 million. If we would have released them then, our savings would have been only $7 million. So we're watching the market to see when's the best time to release them. And the market has not came back to where we're ready to release them yet. Because as of the 23rd, if we would have released that day, I think our savings would have been $18 million. And so, and we did talk to the rep today with the announcement of going on in Washington, D.C. about possible impeachment. They think their interest rate is going to drop. And so we're looking at that hourly. This when's the best time to release our $8 million that we haven't released, plus the refinance of the ones that we all approved at the last board meeting.
So did our rating stay the same?
Oh, yes, they're not going to change the rating.
No, Moody's.
Right, Moody's, they're not going to change it
But they issued a
until
press
next year.
release.
Right.
Okay.
It's part of their policies that they had to issue the press release.
So, Madam President, I just thought it was relevant for us to hear this from the, since it was listed.
Yes.
Appreciate you doing that. Thank you. Any other
you, sir.
questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you.
Mr. Covington. Thank you. With that, we are now ready to go to our payment of bills for the public library.
I'd ask that the Kansas City Board of Education approve the payment of bills for the public library as submitted by Dennis Covington, Chief Financial Officer, and as recommended by myself, Superintendent of Schools.
So could I have a motion, please?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. We're now ready to have reports from the superintendent.
I'd ask that the Kansas City Board of Education accept as an informational item an update on the Head Start Program and Governance Overview as submitted by Dr. Kimberly Shaw, Instructional Improvement Officer, and by Dr. Lynette Hookfin, Deputy Superintendent, as recommended by myself, Charles Faust, Superintendent of Schools.
Good evening, Board, Madam President, Dr. Faust.
Good
How are you
evening.
This evening. No, I'm not Dr. Megan Cook. We miss her greatly, but as you know, she just had a little one about a month ago, and so we're going to try and do justice in giving our update tonight. This is Stacy Foskett. She's the Program Compliance Monitor who works with the Head Start program, so she's going to be joining me in this presentation tonight.
Okay.
As you will recall, last year, we had to engage in a recompetition to move forward with Head Start for this school year. And I believe you all are aware that we did receive a grant, but we did have some changes to that grant. So I'm going to start with those changes. So, oops. Looking at my notes rather than on the computer. So we received a 5-year grant that we will have to provide annual updates to the Office of Head Start each year. That is not a change, it's just a continued process with the grant requirements. This first year, the grant is going to be run from July 1 to March 31st. The Office of Head Start has in the past had our fiscal year be April 1 through March 31st, and so they have continued with that same process. However, our new grant year just started in July. So what happens for us as a as a school district fiscally, is that at the end of 5 years, we get a 3-month extension to carry us through our school year. So that 3-month extension is captured at the end of the 5th year. And I'll talk about that just a little bit more. Year 2 will be effective then April 1, March 31st of 2021. And our final year, as I just shared, has that 3-month piece. So our awarded amount for this first 9 months is $4,017,597 for 9 months. That will then be prorated at the end of 5 years for 3 more months, which averages about to just short of $500,000, $446,000 a month is essentially what we receive. So when we start our new grant year in April 1 of 2020, that will be a grant year of just over $5 million. Our current award for this year, however, is the $4 million that's listed on the screen. With the new grant, we saw a reduction in our number of slots and the number of students that we serve. And that was a reduction from approximately 878 students to 529 students, or 529 slots. That we have to fill for children to fill. As you may be aware, we had another agency in the community that received the other portion of the award, and we are working diligently to set up collaboration meetings with them to ensure that we are supporting all of the students in Wyandotte County, not just those that we serve in our school district. It's important for us to have that partnership. Of our 529 slots, 120 of those are full-day slots in the Kansas City, Kansas School District. 379 of those are part-day, so they come either morning or afternoon in the Kansas City, Kansas School District. And we continued with our delegate agency, which we have had in the past, where they are going to now have 30 students, and it is considered a full-day program out in Bonner. USD 500 are 2 sites now. We used to have many, as you'll recall. We've been able to secure our Head Start students and staff within Kansas City, Kansas Early Childhood Center and North Central Office Early Childhood Center. So Megan, Stacy in place of Megan is going to talk a little bit about some of the program adjustments from the prior grant cycle, as well as our program goals and school readiness goals.
Okay.
So some of the additions that we've had this school year, we've had the addition of conscious discipline, and then also my IGDs, which is individual growth and development indicators, is an evidence-based assessment to monitor growth and development to make sure they're kindergarten ready. And then we also had updated playgrounds, both at our Kansas City, Kansas Early Childhood Center, as well as our North Central Office Early Childhood Center, just so they're developmentally appropriate for student access. For our program goals, these are the goals that we wrote into our Head Start grant. So we definitely want to make sure that all children are kindergarten ready. Then we want to educate and increase family knowledge around importance of social emotional development, strengthen and support positive adult-child interactions, and then the program will increase community awareness around Head Start as a leader in early childhood education. For school readiness goals, we have 5 school readiness goals, each attached to a domain. So we have approaches to learning, so expanding knowledge while demonstrating skills of curiosity and initiative to connect concepts. Social emotional development, so engaging in positive relationships and recognizing the effect of their own behavior on others. We have language and literacy, which is demonstrating increased knowledge in early literacy skills and oral language development. Cognition, so beginning math skills during daily activities. And then perceptual, motor, and physical development, so demonstrating large and small muscle control. So those are our school readiness goals, and they're all aligned with our Kansas Early Learning Standards.
And since it's still early in the year, we thought it'd be a good time to just take a few minutes to review a little bit about the governance and the structure. Last October, I believe you guys had a Saturday, well, I remember we had a Saturday board meeting, and I know in the morning there was a representative from Megan's team that went over the governance piece with you all. So we're just going to do a brief overview today, and then later after the elections, we'll have some new members, we'll go through it more in depth again then. But as a reminder, the Head Start program describes, and the Head Start Act actually defines what the roles are and responsibilities of the governing bodies, which you all, as the board, are the governing body for Head Start. There's also a policy council, in which that is a group of parents. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And together, policy council and the governing body are responsible for the overall program design, planning, monitoring, and oversight. And there's also additional steps that are included within the Head Start program performance standards that talk about specific expectations around practices and procedures that are necessary for the operations in our buildings. I know this is not really large, but it is one you've seen before, this particular slide. And this talks about the governing body as a whole, which is you all. In some places, it could be a tribal council. And this just talks about the overall composition. Head Start says, or requires, that the board or the governing body be composed of at least a member that has a background and expertise in fiscal management, early childhood, and as a licensed attorney. However, we have a caveat with the fact that you all are an elected board. And so because of that, that is an exception to that requirement, because you are sought by the community to serve in this capacity. Therefore, if need be, we reach out to those that need to provide us additional support when needed. The Policy Council is a council made up of parents. It needs to be proportionate to the number of students that we have in our program. And the way we address that in our Head Start program currently between the 2 sites is that we work with our families to solicit a proportionate number of parents per site. So KCKPS KCK is a much larger school, having 20 classrooms, the Kansas City Cancer Early Childhood Center, than the North Central office site over here next door. And so there's usually more parents that might be on that council from the Kansas City Cancer Early Childhood Center than at North Central office, but work to create that proportionate representation. We also look for at-large community members to support and be on the policy council. I know currently we have someone from the DCF, and we're continuing to look for other members, such as maybe religious representatives and other community agencies that might be willing to serve on this council. Lastly, we have the management staff, which includes the superintendent, our chief financial officer, assistant superintendent, executive director, IAO, et cetera. And these individuals are responsible for that overall day-to-day management of what we have written into our grant and the guidance that has been provided from the policy council as well as you, the governing body. So this is just a little more simpler diagram that the hierarchy is ultimately you as the board have the final approval in all decisions. But it starts at the parent level, or at the site level, which is down at the bottom. It says parent committee. Ideally, each site is going to have a parent committee where they, as a site, decide what is it that we'd really like to see happening programmatically at our building. And what are some things we'd like to see happening or being provided for our students instructionally as well as for our families, because Head Start is not just about instruction, it's about supporting the family as a whole. Then that information, as those parent representatives are part of policy council, they then look to inform the program level work of Head Start as a whole. And then last but not least, the information comes to you all as a decision-making body for the entire grant. So as a governing body, there's the legal responsibility of ensuring that activities and regulations are being followed. There's a fiscal responsibility to ensure that we're being prudent in using our funds as well as abiding by the regulations. And there's also the responsibility to be engaged and knowledgeable about the program's 5-year goals, which Stacy just went over briefly, as well as knowing how we're progressing towards those goals. And so Megan Dr. Cook provides those in her monthly updates, and that comes to the board. And then I believe we try to do, which we need to bring, is an annual report of those the overall progress for the families and students. Policy Council, again, I spoke briefly about that, is a unique aspect of Head Start. Again, it's composed of parents, and it's meant to engage parents in becoming more involved in those leadership roles. For Head Start, there's a requirement of an income level to be eligible for Head Start. And so the goal is to really engage families in being more inclusive in the work of the community and the decision-making that happens for their students in their education. So it's comprised, again, of a proportionate amount of parents from the two sites, and the goal is to provide that leadership to help shape that future and also to bring information to inform you as the overall governing body. So then last but not least, we provide, the Head Start program provides reports to you all that includes a monthly financial report as well as monthly program information summaries that come from the director, Dr. Cook, as well as the attendance and how many meals and snacks that we provide to students. When we have the financial audit, that is provided to you because the federal program of Head Start is audited every year. There's an annual self-assessment and needs assessment that we conduct, as well as the program information report. Those are things that we still need to bring back to you at another time. And then last but not least, if there is when we receive communication from the Head Start office that is, of course, important for you all to know, when applicable, we'll bring that to you as well. So again, just an overview of the governance and just where we are right now with the implementation of our new grant cycle for 5 years of the Head Start program. Do you have any questions for us this evening?
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I just have one. Is it possible after 5 years we'll be able to reclaim what we lost?
So we will have to compete. I mean, we always have to rewrite every 5 years. In years past, before we got the grant, the regulations were different, and you didn't always have to recompete. At the year we received the grant, 5 years ago, the regulations changed, that every 5 years you have to rewrite. And so if there are other interested community members, it will go out to all, is my understanding, correct? Yeah, so we would love to get them back, yes, yes.
I guess we had more than 2 sites in the past.
We did. We were renting other sites, Mr. Brown.
Renting, okay.
We were, and so we decided to let go of those sites because of the cost of renting,
Right.
when we knew that we could fulfill
Where
the
are these
need
2
inside.
sites located? Where are these 2
Where-
sites?
So Kansas City, Kansas Early Childhood Center is one of our district-owned buildings
Okay.
over on 55th Street,
Okay.
down from the Humane Society off of
Right,
Parallel.
right, right.
And then the North Central Office Early Childhood Center is this one right next door that you drive by when you're leaving. You see the nice, they have a brand-new playground.
Right.
So there's classrooms over here in this building.
The one on 55th, right, let's see, is that a little south of Parallel?
Yeah, correct. It's between State and Parallel, right in the middle.
Next to your church.
Come visit. It's a busy place. Lots and lots of little ones, but it's fun. I would be remiss to not mention this because I think it's important for you as a board to know that when we did lose some of the funding, it did impact our staff. And so we had approximately 20 people that we had to make calls to let them know that funding may or may not, that the funding was not still available, but that we as a district were going to work with them to look for other positions for which they might be eligible for. Of the 20 that we reached out to, some of them had already made decisions that they were going to seek other opportunities for themselves. So they had already intended to resign. But of the 15 approximately, we are down to 2 that I believe, I'd have to double check with Cynthia. I didn't get a chance to check numbers with her today. Well, just one. We have one left to hopefully fulfill a role, to find a role for that individual to continue to stay employed in the system. And quite honestly, we reached out to this individual a couple of times for opportunities, and she ended up traveling abroad. And so she says, hey, I'm not ready right now, but call me later when you have another position. And so we now have a couple positions that we've reached out to her. So I'm hoping we're getting her on board soon, so that all of those that wanted to remain with us as employees are still with us in some capacity, not necessarily in Head Start, but definitely still within our agency of the public school system. So,
Thank you.
and thank you to Cynthia and her team for all the work they did.
Okay.
They
Any
were
other
not easy
comments?
calls,
I
but
bet.
in the end, it was good for all of them, except for the one.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Nguyen?
Yes.
Well, in the spirit of full disclosure,
Sure.
I am also a member of the Children's Cabinet.
Yeah. Okay.
So October is Head Start Awareness Month, right?
Right.
So I got an invitation to go read to Head Start classes at the Family Conservancy.
Okay.
So please invite us
We
to
will,
read
we
to
will.
our USD 500
Yes.
Head Start classes.
We're just pulling that together. I know we're
Okay.
a little behind, but trying to stay on top of
That's
everything.
it.
So we'll be
Full
sure to do
disclosure.
that. Thank you.
Need to know.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate everything that you have given us. It's amazing to me to be of a generation where there were no Head Start classes. And then to see within this last year as to how much our parents are being engaging to make sure that their children are learning, because what was taught at home now is being taught, but we're taking it to the next level to prepare our future scholars as they come through our school system. So I thank you for being so open with everything that you've given to us, and we will benefit from it, not only us, but our children and families as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you for supporting us. We appreciate it.
And we will be ready to read if we're asked. Okay, thank you.
Madam President, I think that we need to take a motion to accept this report.
I was going to do that. Thank you for reminding me, though. I want you to do that. So with that in mind, could we please get a motion to accept this report, please, from the Head Start Program and Governance Overview?
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Do we have any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion has been carried. Thank you. We are now ready for our consent agenda.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'd like to set aside Section C and E on the Human Resources Report, and item H, the Financial Report.
C, E, and H.
Section C and E of C and H. Got it? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So Motion's been made that we set aside section C, E, and H in our consent agenda.
I think it's C and E of item C and item H.
Could you repeat that again for me, please?
Am I correct? Section C and E of item C and item H.
Okay. Okay, so we will be setting, the motion has been made to set aside section C and E of item C and item H.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we set aside those. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Now I need a motion. Am I correct that we go to, that we accept the consent?
Right.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda minus sections
C
C and E of item C and item H.
It has been, the motion has been made. Do I have someone to second it?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Okay, we are now ready for the, am I correct, payment of bills?
No, item C.
Oh, item C. Okay, could we have a discussion of
Right.
section C,
Section C.
item C?
Madam President, Section C is budget-approved building department extra duty and stipend payments. I need explanation or clarity on duplication. Now, they're, let's say, different without identifying people. One says lunch cafeteria duty, and then the same person says lunch duty. And it goes on like this for 4 or 5 different places. It may say set up Noble Printers Library, set up library. Or one says library, then says library set up. So is that a typo? Do you want me to give you numbers?
Yeah, give me a number.
Okay. Start off with number 9394 on page 6.
Item 94?
93 and 94.
I believe we do have some duplications. Now, we caught this, I didn't see that one. Okay, but it was brought to our attention that when somebody was inputting information into the spreadsheet, it just got in their duplicate a few times. So, but here's the thing that we do need to understand is it doesn't get paid until somebody turns in the time. This is just, you're just approving these people to get paid when they turn in a time card, okay?
Right.
So if you would, I mean, that's all I, really can say about it, but the other thing we can do, I guess, is come back and
So,
clean it up and take out some of the duplications.
so in actuality, what happens is the persons at the schools actually input this, and then it comes through HR as a huge form, and it only pays them once. So they're not going to get paid $32 or $31 an hour. They would only get paid that $20.72 an hour.
And the second line is for the half hour, so a lot of them are split up into 30-minute segments. So what it looks like to me is somebody entered it in for half of a 30-minute segment, and then they entered in the full rate. So they should have not done that, but that's what's on that report.
So, I mean, it's numerous times. So it's just, how do you correct that?
Well, what should have happened, it should have been cleaned up before it was sent. And so what we would have to do now, I mean, it's not going to be a financial issue because we're not going to obviously pay people the combination of those two things. This is, all you're really doing is approving these people to get paid when in fact they do turn in a time card.
Okay.
That's what you're really doing.
But of course, when we say it like this, we don't know.
So,
Second question, and again, here we do not want to make mistakes twice. There are, 10 maybe places where it just says extra duty, no explanation. And what is that?
and we really don't know because this is something that is being sent in. So when we get this report, okay, this is all going into one big spreadsheet, and this is coming from multiple locations. They should put in as much description as they can. We have asked them to do that, but sometimes we don't get all the information that, sometimes it's just, it comes that way. We try to get as much data as possible for, the board to understand what the costs are. So I don't have a good answer for those things because it's a lot of information.
Well, just serving as a principal before, extra duty can be almost a number of things. So, excuse me, as a principal, I would actually be vague and say, because there may be tutoring one day, it may be, let's say, whatever the school has to do for extra duty, but what happens is because our policy states that the person's name has to come before the board, so their name is there, and this person may not actually ever do any of this. But what has to happen is it has to come before the board and be approved. So principals or department heads will send information in so that they're covered in the event that I need to use you or this teacher to do an extra duty because I can't pay them until it's been approved. So that's what's actually you're seeing. So they put them in here all because of that. Because if it's not approved, they can't.
They can't
pay
get
them.
Right, and that's what I understand. But blindly,
Right.
Again, reflecting on the past, looking forward, this, if we approve it, then we are blindly approving extra duty.
Well, and that's how the policy's written.
And I understand that.
You don't have to worry, I can tell you that group there that's sitting in front of you and myself, I like my freedom. So we're not looking to do anything with financials that's improper. So what happens is we require them to put it in. So yes, in certain areas you want them to be explicit, but in certain areas they have to be vague. Because of course it does say in one area, so number 110 does say tutoring. So that was taken
Those
care
are
of.
clear.
But then
The
the other,
tutoring, the ninth grade planning, the sixth grade development, those are specific and clear. The rabbit hole is the extra duty that
And-
is blank.
right, it could
So-
be a Saturday, whatever, those are the things where just we see the work as a school.
I
Yes.
understand that, but do you understand what I'm saying? That reflecting on where we've been and that the board gets blamed for everything, so
But-
that blindly approving something that
We-
says extra duty, but you do
But
understand.
we are taking care of the community at this point, so we're actually, everything is we're rebranding. And so what we're doing is putting that positive spin on it. So yes, I don't know what was going on in the past, but what I can say is that we want to make sure that we don't have to hold up the progress of someone saying that, no, I can't do this because I hadn't been paid for
Well,
that.
see, that, I don't understand that as, I don't accept that as holding up progress, when if you know you're going to need X, Y, Z, put it in. Now, you say, we may approve number 94 for lunch duty and they don't do it. Okay, so that doesn't get paid. But do you understand, and you understand what I'm saying, based on the audit, the extra duty has been abused?
Well,
I'm not suggesting any.
No, and I don't take that way, but I'm just saying I'll say that's easier said than done as a leader of a school, that you can't always think of everything that you're going to have to want everyone to do. So sometimes it will be really vague.
Okay.
Because you just want to make sure that you have, when you need that person or you need persons, that you can call on them.
Right, but do you understand
I get what you're saying.
the need for clarity? Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question. What is the program director like on 167?
I think tonight.
That was sitting in the email to you. Those are Kids Zone.
That's why I thought it was Kids Zone, but I wasn't sure. Okay, thank you.
Right, anything else? Dr. Nguyen, did you get item H answered?
H was just, it's clear about phys ed travel. I think I asked before, what's ALAS?
What page?
It would be one page? It's travel.
Dr. Faust. It's Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents.
Oh.
It's one of the largest Latino administrator and superintendent groups in the country.
Well, now I know what ALAS is.
Okay.
And of course, Title IX speaks for itself. How do you choose who travels other than the director?
Or which one?
Anything?
It just depends. I mean, I know that's a vague answer, but it would, who's the most person that's suitable, so they have to come back and they have to do a training and present to us. Those individuals who are going, so ALSE, whatever he learns, those individuals who are going, they'll come back and they'll present.
Good, thank you. Just wanted an answer.
Okay, so is there anything else? Any other questions? So with that being said, we need a motion.
Move to accept section C and E of item C.
And H.
We haven't done H yet.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. We have the motion for us to accept section C and E of item C. It has been made. Is there anyone who would like to second it? Second. It has been seconded. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you. Dr. Nguyen?
Now, just again, clarification, please. On H, the monthly financial report, where would we find, find the data to, for example, contingency reserve? Where would those expenditures show up?
That you can see them?
Uh-huh.
Without going into the Business Plus, you wouldn't see an itemized list of those. I mean, they're in our system, but we would have to send you a report to show you what they are.
Do we have the new
No, we're
Hadoop
still,
system yet?
we're still transitioning the data over so we can get that live. We're going to have a test on it, I think in 2 weeks. I don't have the exact date for some of the users to test it. Their plan is to go live like the 1st of December, where all our users can drill down and see what they need to see.
So at that point, we would be able to see
You'll be able to drill down on those.
that
Mhm.
when we're approving something sight unseen.
Yes, you'll be able to drill down and see them.
The contingency reserve is here. You can see that one.
No.
She wanna
From
know.
the last report of 162,000 now.
You want the day-to-day.
Yeah.
Well, just not want the day-to-day, but just how do we drill down to see it?
Yeah.
mean-
With the Alivu, you'll be able to drill down into those numbers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Prepare it out.
Okay, so could we have a motion?
Move to set H, please.
It has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposers? Thank you. We are now ready to go to our payment of bills.
I'd ask that the Kansas Board of Education approve the payment of bills as submitted by Dennis Covington, Chief Financial Officer, and as submitted by myself, Superintendent of Schools.
The motion has been made, or rather, it's been suggested, Dr. Yeager.
So moved.
The motion has been made. Can we have someone to second it, please?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept the payment of the bills. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposers? Thank you. I'm getting there. We're now ready to go into executive session.
Well, we have E under.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. E, to accept for the first meeting for discussion proposed changes to board policy of IHA grading system.
So basically, the policy was brought up because through conversation, it was found out that, well, actually, it came out in quarterly reports for our high schools. And so the question was, did you, because Harmon did a big post about, did you get your progress reports? And then other schools said, did you get your progress reports? But there were some parents that said, I don't have grades in my book. And this was already 6 weeks into the semester, and there were no grades or only a couple of grades in the grade book. And so I asked Dr. Faust if he would research that information as far as to what's the norm for how many grades should be in the grade book by 6 weeks. Certainly there should be some level of grades because we have athletic events, we have students who are on track, and without grades in the system, how do we know if our students are being successful? If you guys remember last year, there were a number of parents that complained for seniors saying that they weren't aware that their child was in fact not passing or had flunked some classes or was not on track to graduate by May because there was lack of communication. So in discussion, the recommendation is for quarter grades shall be based on no fewer than 10 grades per 9 weeks. And that is, the thinking behind the number 10 when speaking with Dr. Faust is at least one grade should be entered per week for 9 weeks. And then by then, they should have had an opportunity to at least give a final, a midterm, something within 9 weeks. And so the recommendation was to bring it to the board to have a discussion about the grading in our systems because we need to allow our children to know if they're passing and ensure that the teachers are entering grades so that we can properly have an analysis of where they are for the year.
Any comments?
Were any teachers involved in coming to the number 10?
Well, when speaking, Dr. Faust, maybe you can shed a little more light on.
So what I did is I actually pulled the grading policy, and so if you'll see at the top, what the district stated was that the district shall have board-approved methods for assessing and reporting the quality of student academic progress. Information shall be published in appropriate handbooks. So there was nothing that was so vague. There was no policy. Technically, there was no policy for kids to be successful. So as a teacher, if I don't have any grades, you said the board shall have a method of assessing. So no, we have not spoken with teachers at this point to give a baseline of 10 grades, but one would think from the educational field that, you are at least assessing students' homework, classwork, assessments, at least 1 grade a week. Where there are some districts that say a minimum of 18 grades, so it's 2 grades per week. And so we're just given a baseline. We have a ways to go. But what I will say is that we have to set an expectation. I get it. I understand. I'm all about collaboration. But there also has to be some expectations. And if some schools will have 20 grades, and there are some teachers who have 20 grades. So some like, are you kidding me? Only 10 grades? And then where we had some parents who said 4 weeks went in and there are no grades in. So where do you fall under that? So we have to, as the superintendent, I have to set a standard of saying, yes, we have to do this. Now we're giving them the jurisdiction to say it's going to be class grades, there's not a percentage, it's this, that, but we have to have a boundary as what do we want our students to have? And I honestly, and I'll say it, I think this is too low, and I told Dr. Yeager that's too low. The districts where I came from, it was 2 grades per week. And if a child was failing, so if a child came in and they only had 2 grades and you had been in there for 6 weeks, they could appeal that, and then you had to take that F off. So we are giving leeway. As again, I say I am all for teachers, but I believe that we have to do what's right for kids because this will not get away in some other school districts. I mean, I'll just be honest and tell you, but we have to put if you don't expect anything, you don't get anything. And so sometimes I don't even think our folks know what to expect. But I know it's better than this.
Yeah. And No, I was just going to say, in the past, the expectations were there, and the teachers did it. And they monitored the grading of the students. And it seems like there's been a breakdown, so we have to look at this and make a decision.
But you also have to always consider, why are policies made? Because someone's not doing it. You have so many people who are doing it, but you have those who aren't doing it. So you, those of you who are educators who are teaching, you were probably those who were doing it.
Right. We need a check and balance system.
Not everyone does it, so we have to.
Well, I would agree with you that I think it needs to be more, and I would take it a step further. There should be some way that we can check and see. Because I taught for 30 years, and I work with people who never put a grade in the grade book. And it was hard to believe, and I don't know, again, they got away with it. They never put a grade in the grade book. It does happen. And we can't fool ourselves and think that it doesn't. They never, how do you get away with that? And then how do you tell somebody they're failing? And the other thing I think we need to include, we need to check to make sure they're putting the points in the book. Now, I know we have a lot to do, but I prided myself that I was on. I'm putting it in, you do it, I got it, I'm letting you know.
Exactly.
In addition to, I forgot what we had, the system, plus I gave them something in writing each week. You take that home, you get your parents to sign, because I wanted to make sure they knew, I know, you know what's going on. So I think it should be more too, and we need a better way to check to make sure people are putting the grades in the book.
Well, you know, the negotiated agreement does allow for teachers planning and for grading papers.
Yeah, but it doesn't always get in there. And again, this is not saying that everybody does that. We have people who are professional. So please don't misquote me. Don't say Wanda Page said they don't put I didn't say that. I just said during my tenure, some people, a few that I knew, never put a grade in the book.
One of the things that we can run in our system is a failure report. And most school leaders should be running a weekly failure report. And so that would then tell you where your grades are and who's failing and what's failing. You know, I've even worked in districts that, you know, if a child, and most of the teachers I know have talked with, it's not even written, so they're doing this, that if a child makes below a 70, they're allowing them to retest. But what happens is, again, rules are made because people don't do what's right. And so you have several people who are doing this, and some people are probably like, oh my gosh, like really? Like you're saying, really someone would not put grades in? But there's someone who's not putting grades in. So again.
And I would say it's not even for just those who are failing, but now with Infinite Campus, we as parents can go in, we can see when a grade is updated. We know real time. Like I said, for instance, and I'll use Harmon, send out the email, oh, you're busted, you know, and the parents were looking at their grades real time. Then when I reposted it on my Facebook page, people were inboxing me, I have no grades, I have 2 grades, I have 3 grades. I don't know where my child stands. So even if you're passing, kids deserve to know their standing.
Right.
And as a college professor, I enter way more, again, can't compare college to K through 12, but I enter way more than 1 grade a week because it's required to stay accredited to have those grades entered into the system for proper calculations.
So, Ms. Page, you said you think we should have more than 10, or you?
I would say more than 10.
Well, I think we should keep it, the reason why I said 10 is to start off somewhere and then build from there.
Yeah, but you're saying you've been in school. What have we been in school now? 6 weeks?
This says 9.
Well, yeah, within a 9
grades per.
week.
Right, so
You
I'm
need
saying-
more.
You need
really
more.
do.
9, you could have more. Now, I taught history. We did book reports.
There you
we did
go.
research
Yes.
papers. We did weekly, every day, each week, news update, current events. We're recording scores. You're doing something, because we could hold them to that. And I find it hard to believe just 10. It needs to be higher.
Accountability. Any other comments?
Well, let me just add, we will have to know what we're saying with board-approved methods of assessing and reporting. That's not clear. So it may not have, I don't know if one would list, but it has to be defined someplace.
Right now, it seems, the way it's written is generic, 10 grades.
No.
Oh, you're saying,
First part.
saying the
It
top
says,
part, yeah, we have.
Board-approved methods of assessing.
Exactly.
We haven't had that discussion, or reporting. So we have to have some examples that either are being used or suggested to be used.
Right.
So, I mean, of course, I looked and I've seen others, and this is like, for this item, some school districts have like 12 pages that follow.
Yeah.
I think that may be a little bit too much, but that's 2 sentences. That's how much we care about our kids, to give 2 sentences here. So we will, I think, for the first read, I think we do need to come back and add some more meat to this. And, you know, we probably do need to add some more school leaders, some teacher leaders in on this conversation, but it's got to be more than a 2-sentence. And actually, one is just the sentence's overview, and it says,
Right.
so it's actually 1 sentence.
So could we table this?
Well, we could approve the first and then add to it, because we have a second and third.
It's the first read.
Yeah.
Okay, to approve the first read? Okay. And then we can just revise it and update it? Okay. So can I get a motion that we approve the first read of the grading system?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Okay. Now, any other comments? Okay. We are now ready for our executive session. I need a motion for the board to recess into executive session, and we can start at 7:30. I'm sorry, 6:30. Wrong time. Okay.
It's a long night.
6:35 for us to discuss personnel matters of non-elect personnel in order to protect the privacy interests of parties involved. And we will need how many minutes?
I'm sorry. I asked if we add something.
Oh, I'm
Will
sorry.
we do that before we get to the executive session? It is not a long thing about the Good News Club. When does that come back? Or where
We
does
can do that after we come out of executive session?
Well, it's a brief thing. It wouldn't take that long.
You would rather do it now?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay, are there any? Okay, all right, so before we go to executive session, we will go ahead and address the issue relating to the relating to the Good News Club. Ms. Page.
Okay, I brought it up because on September the 10th, at our board meeting at Welborn, we voted to allow them to participate, and then we would get clarity from our attorney, Mr. Goheen, who I was unaware until I spoke with him that he wouldn't be here today, and we're glad that this lovely young lady is here to join us. And he had asked, could we table that for the next meeting, which would be October the 8th? And he didn't feel that it would be fair to you to put her in this position, and he had asked if we could vote on it then, and he would give us an update, and it would be clear about what they can or could not do. So I just wanted it on the record to note that he had asked, could we put it on the agenda for October the 8th, and he would give us his ruling, because a lot of people have been calling, and I just wanted on the record that it will be cleared up by October the 8th.
Thank you.
That was it.
Thank you.
A couple of things. Did we make a commitment to get back to them at a certain time?
Yeah, we did, but then there were questions that came up at the last meeting, which was September the 10th, and for clarity, they had asked Mr. Goheen to check on some things and to come back, and then he would give us an update in which direction to go.
So we did give them access to our buildings during that meeting. Interestingly enough, it was about the being free, but they did have an attorney send us a letter, so they paid for an attorney
Okay. Well, but again, I respect what you said, but just for clarity, and I wanted it to come out so they could hear it, because they're calling and complaining, saying you all said and nothing was done, and when is something going to be done?
Well, we did in that meeting. If they go back and watch it, the board did agree to move forward. There were just those questions, but in the meantime, they've sent this multi-page letter from their attorney. But I just wanted the board to know that even though we're giving them something free, they paid an attorney to write us a letter.
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
We did get back with them about what action, that they were to go ahead.
Okay, that
was. Those 10 sites.
Okay.
And the other part was that the attorney was going to do some research on them being a partner of the school.
Okay.
So we did get back with them right after that meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, so therefore, I will need a motion coming from the board that we address the situation with the Good News Club and table it for October the 8th for us to get an update to be a part of our agenda for clarification coming from Mr. Goheen.
So moved.
So, second.
It has been moved and seconded that we will table the information for the Good News Club for our meeting on October the 8th with a report coming from Mr. Goheen. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. Ms. Page, thank you so much for bringing that to our attention, because it is necessary to make sure that we do things decent and in order. So with that being said, we are now ready to go into executive session at 6:35, and we will recess to executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel in order to protect the privacy interests of the parties involved. And how many minutes will we need? 15 minutes, and we will resume at 6:45. Under
6:50. Yeah. 6:50.
6:50, thank you. Under the Kansas Open Meetings Act to discuss matters of non-elected personnel in order to protect the privacy interests of the parties involved. The board will return to open sessions at 6:50. Thank you.
No action to follow.
With no action to follow, thank you. It's right here, I didn't see it. 6:50. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you for correcting me. We did not have a motion. Could I get a motion, please, that we recess?
Yeah, we'll be here.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. I'll get to here. I'd like to have a motion that we resume our meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we resume our meeting coming from executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposers? Thank you. We now have communications coming from Dr. Faust.
Good evening, everyone. It is this time of year where it's just exciting. Every time I get the microphone, I'm excited about education. As you can see, I love doing this work. And one of the things that we have been talking about in our cabinet and just here in the office is that we are going to be doing a campaign of rebranding the district. And starting this Saturday, you're going to have an opportunity to help us. We are going to be out walking, looking for dropouts. So each campus, each high school campus is going to give us a list of names. And so we'll be meeting at the high school campus, and then we'll be going to those homes knocking on doors, because our goal is to get people to graduate, find out what do they need. Time out for telling kids that failure is an option. If we don't make it an option, then everyone wins. So that's the thing that I'm most proud of, is that we are going to be out and about and, as I said, knocking on doors and bringing kids back to school to make sure that they get a high school diploma. The second part, I had the opportunity, I'm a part of KC Rising and also the KC Chamber. And so they invited us out to Nashville to see some of the work that they're doing in the economic development along with our academies. So I have a different perception on what needs to happen with academies, and just had the opportunity to sit down and ask questions, and we'll be going to take a look at the academies and explaining exactly what happens, because I think, I'm not going to say I stopped. I'm not even going to apologize anymore. We're not doing it right. And what the intention is would provide our business owners better opportunities to hire our students. One of the most rewarding conversations I had was with a couple of the CEOs, and they were saying that they had told one of the school districts they were training kids. This is in Nashville. They were training kids, and they were teaching them how to use some equipment that was there. And so they asked, the school went and said, well, how can we help? He said, stop doing it. He said, you're training them the wrong way. So they brought in their own equipment, showed the teachers how to use the equipment, trained the kids, and then they hired the kids. So that's the type of work that we're going to be getting into. We're going to make sure that if the business industry is saying that this is what we need, then this is what they need. We're responsible K through 12, and we want to make sure that they're successful citizens outside of the school. And so those are the things that we learned, and just being able to walk the campus and share and talk with individuals from a business perspective, because the business world has a different way of looking at things and sharing the information with us, and just being able to sit down at the table and say, hey, it's not money that we need human capital. And they said, oh, we can definitely get you that. So we will definitely be having more conversations with the business industry and inviting them in. And we got another college partner, and of course, I have a hard time saying this one, but I will. KU. Of course, I graduated from Chapel Hill, but KU, their provost was there, and he says, I've been trying to get up with you and get up with USD 500 because you've never been a partner of ours, and we want to be partners. And so I thought that was the most meaningful. He gave me some inside stories, and so how we can share those with the kids. And so we can drive up to Lawrence and make sure that we have other meetings. But now we have two partnerships. We have one with K-State, and we have one that we will do some official things with KU. And I have a meeting with the Dean of Education sometime in October, where we'll be sharing some more information with KU. So great things happening, and just be on the lookout, because we're going to actually be revitalizing our TV station. So definitely have individuals start, not this Friday, but you'll get an email, so then you'll help spread the word. But we're going to actually we're wanting everyone to start submitting good news. Good news. We want the good news committee to share, and starting with the board. We want to start rewarding, or not rewarding, but awarding who can submit the most good news. So that's where, because we have another campaign that's running inside, and the district who's going to get the golden cleats or the golden spikes, and it's all over the place, just competition everywhere. And as you can see, Dr. Finn is wanting the award, but
Great.
So she's pointing at people, telling them, get it in. So we are having a lot of fun with it, and that's how it's supposed to be. The work is hard, but we are committed to moving this district in a positive light. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Just like to say that I had an opportunity to attend on September the 16th the Ladies' High Tea at Rosedale Middle School, where they are trying to incorporate parents and helping them to understand and communicate with each other the roles that they play in the lives of their children. And I really enjoyed being there. It was led by Ms. Coulter and several of the staff members there at Rosedale, but they gave us an opportunity not only to talk to other business women who were there, but also to get up and move around and talk to parents from a different perspective to help them. And I was able to listen to a parent and talk to her and plug her in to the right people to help to make sure that her child would reach success. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that again. I also went on the 19th to the kickoff for the United Way, how they're going to be implementing and trying to get the help for our students within the Kansas City, Kansas area. And then on the 15th, I attended the Teacher of the Year at the Sheraton in Overland Park. And it was just good to see so many educators there, as well as knowing that we had a candidate from our school district who was one of the finalists but did not get selected. But it was good to be able to be there and meet and greet with other people. Thank you. That's it. Anyone else?
So I also was at the Kansas Teacher of the Year recognition, and that was really good to be able to see all of our candidates. We had 2 people, great teachers, great initiatives. All of the candidates were really just awesome. I'm like, how did they choose those top ones? Because it is so amazing what teachers are going above and beyond what they're doing. And it was just nice to see that we were represented. We were fully in support and fully came out so they could see us, so that they would know that we fully support what they're doing in the classroom, and just to give them that opportunity to be supportive. I want to say congratulations to Sligo football. They were game of the week last week, yay. Great. So that was great. And we have an upcoming Finance of College night. One unique thing that I shared is that we sometimes do not toot our own horn enough. We have a Twitter, Facebook page. We are there, but we need more parents to be on social media so they can see what we have. Also, we need to provide more communication. And I want to say thank you to Stephen Linkos, because there was someone who replied to the post in Spanish and had other comments. And I said, hey, could you just take a look and respond back? Because it is something about we are a diverse community. And we surely should be communicating in more than one language and doing our best to communicate to parents. So it's just exciting to see that we have a staff who is dedicated and really on point when it comes to getting out the communication, understanding the needs of our community, and attacking them. So I really appreciate that. And also, we have a college night that's coming up. Yay. You guys know I'm such an advocate for college readiness. If our students cannot pay for college, or if their parents do not understand, we have to have a complete wraparound, meaning that you can tell your students, you can encourage, you can, at the school, tell them, hey, go toward this path, do this and do that. But in talking to parents are like, well, why is the ACT even important? Why is the Accuplacer important? What difference does it make if they do this or that? And it's up to us, those with knowledge, to help educate those. So the financing college nights will be coming up at all of the high schools. And again, it's on Twitter and Facebook. Also, there is a spot to where it says, even if they're not in high school, it's a community event that you can come out to, that we can come out to, so that we can know more about what's going on. And I want to thank parents again for sending your best. You send your kids to the district for your best. And I have children in this district. So I do not expect anything more from the teacher than I expect of myself, meaning that I am my child's first teacher. I know that it's my responsibility to help them be the best they can be. Completely get it. And so therefore, parents, I'm just so for parent education, so that more parents can be knowledgeable about what they can do and how they can plug in to the community and to the school so they can be part of the growth. So that's all I had to say.
I also attended the Kansas Teacher of the Year Region 3 Award Banquet, and a shout out to Jennifer Hall at Whittier Elementary School and Catherine Holmes from Harmon, who were our delegates who were competing. And it's just a good feeling. Taught for 30 years, and when you can see that people still have some fire and passion for the education profession. And the young lady that won, she deserved it. I mean, I would love for people from our district to win, but she did deserve it because she talked about having a vision, that you have to be a visionary. And she was awesome. I mean, we tried.
Recruit.
You know, we want the best. And
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Even more. So, hey, we have to put it out there. You have not because you asked not.
That's true.
And then I also got a chance to go to the Black Healthcare Coalition banquet, and they work for equity in the health field to make sure that everybody has equal access and an equal opportunity. And we got a chance to hear Reverend Al Sharpton, who did a phenomenal job, just trying to remind us that if she's not insured, there's something wrong, and if I'm not insured, and we need to connect people with the right agencies, doesn't matter whether you're black, brown, whatever, people need help, and we've got to make sure that they get connected to the right agencies. There's a lot we can do. Just provide information. They might not know where to go. So we've got to do that and do whatever we can to help. So those two things, I needed that to get you through the week and inspire you, and to remind parents about Gear Up. It's there. They're working to help our kids get into college.
Right.
But we just don't have enough people taking and getting involved in their programs. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything but your time. So I would urge you to check, especially at the middle school level, to get involved in the program.
Thank you.
Teacher of the Year banquet, I can't add anything else that they haven't said. That was a wonderful evening. The United Way kickoff, there was so much energy in the room. It was, you can see where our community is. They are there for us. Of course, there's the high school and the middle school football games. I had 3 football games this weekend, and I don't even remember who won now. I was really getting excited because one game I remembered who won, but forget it, just left me. Sorry. The art exhibit back here was wonderful.
Yes.
I got to spend several hours up at Harmon with their life skills class building a birdhouse with some of our very special education teachers and students. It was very enlightening. And then I attended the family workshop that Miss Barney has at Argentine Middle School, where she had some families come in and they were talking about social media and the restrictions you should put on your children and how to monitor them. And let's see here. This Thursday night I get to go to the KSAB workshop in Olathe. And then in October, there's 2 workshops. One deals with cultural sensitivity, and I can't remember what the other one is. Maxine, do you remember?
What's it, safety?
Yeah.
What's it, safety?
No, it's something else. I can't remember now. Susan signed me up. But and then we had the parade.
Yes.
The other day. That was fun.
Yes.
You have to be on the bus to watch the administrators. It's a very enlightening experience to see them on Saturday mornings and Saturday afternoons. You didn't know I was recording the bus ride, did you?
No. It was good.
This is an exciting time of year. The kids are finally getting settled into their classroom. The teachers are feeling more secure.
Yes.
And it's a great time to start visiting classrooms, just to see what our kids are learning, to see if you understand what they're learning, because it's a lot different than 50 years ago.
I'm not bad.
That's it. I just been a great couple of weeks.
Okay. Well, I couldn't add anything to the Teacher of the Year banquet. They've done everything, so you've added that. Interesting that I went to I had to give welcome at the Indian Fest and met teachers from our district. And so made appointments to go visit them. I also attended the community meeting. There are community members that still have concerns. And so we are always invited to attend and listen, and that's all we can do, but still bring back concerns to the board. On Thursday, I visited UAW Local 31 on the General Motors picket line, because those are our families. Those are our partners who contribute to backpack distribution, and they're also a lot of USD 500 families. So they have, if they have a food bank, they also have a list of items that they will take donations, because main office General Motors cut off their insurance last Friday. So it probably is not going to end soon. So there's an opportunity for us to help those families. Got my art? I'm starting. I will have the next picture on the wall for the art exhibit. And Dr. Faust, I meet with Fort Hayes lobbyist on Thursday. So you want to have a Fort Hayes connection?
That would be great.
I'll tell them to sign you up so you can add three. All right. So just thank you. Just again, the community is our base.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
And I do want to mention it is Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes.
It is Hispanic Heritage Month. So I have seen a couple of activities at school, and they've been posting on Twitter, if you're on Twitter, a lot of activities. So it's great to see Hispanic Heritage Month being kicked off in the classroom and talking about culture.
Great. One last thing I wanted to add, I have to give kudos to the Safety Committee who have put together the newsletter about safety within our schools that was brought to us by the Risk Assessment Department. It was good to see the information in there, particularly with the fact that they will be giving the step stools within the schools so that they would have it. Just wanted to let them know that it was very informative, and hopefully there will be others who will be able to read it and to know about it as well. Thank Dr. Linkos and his input in making sure that this gets done. Next, we will have information about our board calendar, and I'm not going to read everything, but the major thing that we want to invite the board members to be a part of is the Silver City Days Parade on October the 5th at 10 a.m., and then those other things that are listed there to follow.
And Ms. Drew, President, I will say that I received notification. Remember, I always said we need to know when our students are testing. Mm-hmm. And so I did receive notification from my teacher, my child's teacher, that, hey, we're doing testing this week, and make sure they get sleep and all that. So I really appreciated getting that. And again, it's not on our calendars or anything official, because that's school is setting those dates. But I really appreciated knowing that my child would be testing and things of that nature, so they could, know in advance and be prepared.
We also want to be aware of the Gloria Willis ribbon cutting ceremony that is going to take place on this Friday, as well as the Success Walk that is going to be happening, and we want to encourage everyone to be a participant in that. Is there anything else anyone would like to add?
On Friday, September the 27th, it will be a day that will always be remembered. It's my birthday. Send me money, bake me a cake. I'll appreciate it. Doesn't matter. We'll take it.
The library in the park
is at Big 11 Lake.
Is at Big 11 Lake. So Big 11 Lake, 10 o'clock.
Right.
For library in the park.
Right. The Success Walk is from 8:30 to 10 a.m. at the 4 high schools, and then when you get through with that, then you can go to Big 11 Lake and go to library in the park and just celebrate and do whatever is necessary to celebrate our district in itself. Again, we want to thank everyone for being here. We hope that something was said that will help you to make our district the best that it can be. I need a motion for us to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
It has been moved and second that we adjourn our meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned.